Now entering Nerdist.com.
Hello and welcome to Today We Learned. Welcome back, guys. Hope you're having a good week. And if you're not, well, do something about it. Fix yourself. Fix your life. Take some action. And the first step is downloading this podcast so you know what? You're on the right track. I'm Dan Casey, one of your hosts, but unfortunately, this is the last time you're going to hear my voice. Not because I'm dying or because I'm going to have my larynx ripped out by some sort of, I don't know, Wolverine, but because I couldn't be here for this recording. I was finishing up my second book, 100 Things Star Wars Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die. And big thank you, just quickly want to say, big thank you to everyone who came out to all the signings I've done for my Avengers book, 100 Things Avengers Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die. It's been really cool. All your support online and in person has been really humbling and just incredible. But enough about me. We're not here for me. We're here for knowledge. We're here for Razzle. We're here for today's guest, who, fittingly, is something of a Star Wars superfan himself. He's a director. He's a writer. He's an all-around good dude. He's directed Fanboys. He has a new movie coming out called Barely Lethal. The point is, you're going to dig it. You're going to dig him. Then you're going to dig your own grave. Because what could possibly be better than today's podcast? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe if it came with a Cinnabon. But we're not here about that. We're here to learn. So without further ado, Today We Learn, number 88, with Kyle Newman.
Today we learn. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Today We Learn. Thanks for checking this out. We got a very, very great guest, and a very great guest host, as you guys recall. You guys remember him from previous episodes. Very knowledgeable, very world traveler, and they have a lot in common as we were getting into before we started recording. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'll introduce my very good friend of mine. He's got a new movie coming out that we're going to talk about, and we're going to plug the shit out of because you guys should all watch it. You can watch it now, as soon as you're done with this, or you can watch it in a couple weeks in the theaters. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kyle Newman.
Thank you, guys. I'm allowed to curse on here?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Fuck Star Wars. What?
Wait,
no.
What? No, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. I'm glad
excited. I love chatting with you.
I know we've been.
I'm excited that the movie's finally coming out.
Yeah, right. That's been
May 29th.
May 29th.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about Mad Max.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that too. Can't all make movies that big.
It's I'm excited about that movie, and I'm excited about your movie. I have it queued up. Like I wanna watch it on my computer, but I want to watch it in the theater first.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give you.
You'll come to.
I'm gonna give
screening.
you. I'm gonna give you lots of money to the theater.
Good. Thank you.
What's your movie?
My movie's called Barely Lethal, and it's a high school action comedy. Stars Samuel L. Jackson, Haley Steinfeld, Jessica Alba. We've got Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones and Dove Cameron, who's kind of killing it on the Disney Channel, but this girl is incredible. Thomas Mann, whose his film just won Sundance, won all the major awards. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Oh,
Thomas
yeah.
is the
Love
lead
that.
guy, and this new kid, Toby Sebastian from the UK. He's also in this season's Game of Thrones, and we found him. They hired him after.
Wait, who is he in Game of Thrones?
Is
he on yet?
Yes, he's appeared a few times. His role's about to get bigger. He's the guy who is the younger prince who's betrothed to the
It's not Tommen.
Lannisters.
Oh, he's the dude from that other land.
Yes, he's from the other land.
The
You'll
other.
see more of him.
He's from the Viper's homeland.
His curly black hair.
The Viper's homeland.
And he's a fantastic musician, and we have his music in the movie.
Okay.
We record it live while we're doing it. And Gabe Bass was in it, who was in Kings of Summer and Super 8. He's another great young actor.
Okay.
Plus, we have
Kings of Summer was a good movie, too.
Hubel's in it, and Rachel Harris, who was in The Hangover, and Dan Fogler, who was in my other film, Fanboys. Steve-O's in it.
Steve-O's in it. I seen
It's
that.
a really exciting cast, and it's a very fun movie, and it's coming out through this really great distributor called A24. They have a movie named Ex Machina that's out in theaters now, and they did Most Violent Year, and this is nothing like those.
Yeah, but I like that company, A24.
Oh,
they
the
make good
coolest.
stuff. or distribute good stuff.
They're very. I was a fan of the company well before getting involved with them, and I feel like they curate stuff really well. Like their selection of movies are always very interesting. I feel like I want to see everything they put out.
Yeah.
So it was a great honor to be working with them.
I feel like what tertiary knowledge I have of the movie business, when I see that little A24, I'm like, I'm gonna like this. It's like if I see Studio Canal before a movie, I'm like, yeah.
Or even Millennium. Millennium was an up and comer. Or not Millennium? Is it Millennium or? It's now Alchemy, I believe. It's that red square with the white M. Was it Millennium?
I don't know.
I can look it up. I'm trying
That's
to remember.
porn.
If
That's
it's Millennium,
porn,
you're
Razzle.
thinking of the company that did like all the Expendables, and then I would have to argue with you. Not about the Expendables, but just I don't love their slate as much as I love A24
No,
slate.
it's not.
Look, I love brands like I love Lucasfilm, I like Marvel, I love Criterion, and I love A24. It's like one of those things where I trust what they put out, that there's something interesting about it. So like I said, it was a privilege and an honor to be working with them and having them put out this film, because it's considerably different than anything they've ever done.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it's a high school action comedy, and most of their stuff is a little more arty.
That's awesome.
So it's cool.
I love the genre. I don't know if I know high school action, but anything high school.
It's in the vein of all the old high school films, like a touch John Hughes. I mean, there's references to 10 Things I Hate About You, Breakfast Club, Mean Girls, like across the board. It kind of touches on all the genres. It's a fish out of water comedy. Haley is the lead girl, so she's straddling the line between this world she's escaping from, where she was a one of Samuel L. Jackson's top students at this all-girls espionage-esque school where they train like young Salt type characters. She goes off the grid there, realizing she wants a normal life, which she's been stripped of, going to the school, kind of isolated from pop culture. And when she starts to get exposed to pop culture, her vantage point in is through movies like Easy A and Pretty in Pink and Breakfast Club. So that's all she knows about Americana. And obviously that's at odds with reality and the current landscape of what high school's like when she gets there.
Okay. I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sold.
fun.
It sounds really fun.
It's on VOD right now?
It's on video on demand.
Yeah, well, right now it's only exclusively DirecTV right now for until May
DirecTV.
29th. And then May 29th it'll be in theaters, video on demand, iTunes, all that
Isn't
stuff.
it?
All right,
DirecTV is video on demand, though, right?
Is it? I don't know.
Like
DirecTV is probably the satellite provider, right?
DirecTV,
they say in theaters and on demand May 29th is what they tell us to say.
Yeah.
DirecTV is like an exclusive.
But you still pay to watch it whenever
Yeah,
you
but
want.
you probably
on
have
DirecTV.
to have DirecTV.
Okay.
And I think it's only I think it's like $12.99, so it's not expensive.
Yeah, because that's what always confuses me. So, because video on demand.
But you can't rent it for like $1.99.
Okay, is that video on
Well,
demand?
it's not like the rental price yet.
Okay, correct.
It's a
because
DirecTV
VOD
exclusive.
VOD is not a brand. VOD is just like
Format.
A format.
Yeah.
So
Don't trust the poster, because the DirecTV poster looks like a Jason Statham film. And that's not the movie we made. Like I said, it's much more Mean Girls.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that one poster.
There's a new poster coming. You'll
Good.
see it in the
It's
next
the
day
one,
or two.
right?
You'll see something even newer.
That's-
Oh, there's that one too. We have
there's
two
more.
different. We have
Okay.
two: a style A, a style B, and then this other cool theatrical one, which really gives you a sense of all the people in it.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
18 faces.
Yeah.
That you-
No, it's not. I vetoed all the faces. I'm like, I hate Photoshop face posters. I hate them. And this one is a very cool version. It's not faces.
Okay.
It's bodies.
All right.
Really revolutionizing
Very
the film
revolutionary.
business there, Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle, so this podcast, it's all about like fun chats and random facts and trivia. We like to start off the podcast with the guests providing either a fun fact about themselves or something you learned recently. There are no rules. It could be a Snapple fact. It could be all the spoilers for a certain big movie that's coming out that you learned about.
I can just
It could
spoil
be-
Star Wars right now. I'm sitting on the whole thing. I'm sitting on the whole plot. Well, I got all the photos from like stills from the movie. I should not have. I shouldn't be saying this.
Yeah, it's
a fun fact about me.
Lucasfilm's going to buy out A24 and prevent your movie from coming out.
Here's a fun fact. I'm an Eagle Scout
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
in the BSA, the Boy Scouts of America. And another fun fact is I'm one of 5 in my family.
Wow.
Is that trivia?
That's trivia. Yeah, absolutely. I was reading your brother is a designer for the...
He's like the head character designer of Simpsons.
that's
He
awesome.
also did first season of Family Guy and
Okay.
Futurama, and he works in animation. He's been Simpsons for decades, so did the Simpsons movie. And, if you'd see Homer Simpson go to Hawaii on vacation, he'd probably redesign him in his Hawaiian gear. If you had Mark Hamill go on The Simpsons, he'd probably draw Mark as the Simpson.
Yeah.
So he gets a lot of requests for people saying, can you translate me into a Simpson?
Yeah. Of course, because that's one of the best cartoons ever.
Yeah.
Of course he's gonna get that. The Eagle Scout is for those of you that don't know, is the highest rank attainable in the Boy Scouting program of the Boy Scouts of America. Scout who attains this rank is called an Eagle Scout or an Eagle. And since its introduction in 1911, the Eagle Scouts have been around since 1911. The Eagle Scout rank has been earned by more than 2 million young men. So, Kyle, you are one of 2 million.
Wow.
Good job, dude.
Good odds.
Yeah.
Did I hear something that if you join the military, you're already an officer type of thing with the Eagle Scouts?
I don't know.
I think there's
I
some
became
fact
inactive with it probably shortly after I
got your
went
eagle
to
wings.
college.
Yeah.
It's and maybe I'll get back involved if I have a new son and maybe he'll get into it. I know my brother, who's also an Eagle Scout, his son is at the age now he got into it, so they do.
I was a scout. I got kicked out.
You got kicked out?
Yeah.
Really?
I was a senior patrol leader. I had to one kid threw an axe at another kid. I had to mediate that battle.
Wait, was it sanctioned?
No.
Like an axe throwing battle?
No, that was a meltdown. That was a summer camp meltdown. Yeah.
Did you go to scouting conventions?
I
Or jamboree? What are they called?
I went
Jamborees?
to a jamboree. I went to.
I heard those are great.
Mattagamon was one. They had a scout outpost up in Maine, and so you'd have to. I was maybe 13, and you'd have to take it was a canoe trip, and I'm trying to think how many, like 100 miles and
Holy
down
shit.
these rapids, and it was.
And you're 13?
Yeah, it was like.
Jeez Louise, that's an adventure.
Then you have to portage, so you have to take your canoe with your gear and carry it on your head sometime and go to another outlet in the river and keep going. It was pretty arduous trip. I do remember there's 4 people in a very tight tent, and one night somebody vomited in the tent. It wasn't my tent, but that's bad when that happens. And you have to cut a hole in the tent. They had to cut a hole to get out of the tent
Because it was by the entrance?
and then they had to basically live in that tent for the next 8 days.
Ugh.
Yeah, scouts.
Wow.
Apparently, there are a few. You do get a few advancements, like through E4 or like with college credits and stuff. You can.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like you can get a few promotions through that. On the if you're an Eagle Scout or whatever, in certain military branches, you can skip a few advancements.
I don't know what's cool with the kids now, but when I was in Scouts, it wasn't necessarily cool. But you learn a lot from it. It was actually great, and there's a lot of things you still apply. And like I said, my father was an Eagle Scout. My 2 older brothers were, so it was kind of ordained that I had to, and my younger brother as well.
Yeah,
but it was good. I would recommend it.
The highest I got, I believe, was Weeblo Scout.
That's what I got,
the
too.
highest of Cub Scouts.
Yeah.
It's Cub Scouts. I was in Cub
Yeah.
Scouts, not Boy Scouts.
That's where I got Weebelows, and I got kicked out. So, all right, man.
So you guys were talking about Arsenal.
Yes.
Arsenal is a professional football / soccer team based in Holloway, London. They are top tier, apparently, and they are one of the most decorated clubs in English football. They've won 13 First Division and Premier League titles, and a joint record of 11 FA Cups.
We're on the verge of a record.
Yeah, we're going to win at 12.
We're going to the final.
Really? That's
Is that
happening
Saturday?
right now?
That's I think it's May 31st.
Yeah. it's
30th or
coming-
31st. It's coming up the end
yeah.
of this month. And we're also, I think, the only top flight team to never be relegated.
What does that mean?
It means you could be awesome, and then suddenly you lose your shit, and you have to go down a division because you're financially mismanaged or your players suck.
Be like if the Dodgers, like in English in all European football, like imagine if the Dodgers hit the bottom of the division they're in.
Okay.
They would get relegated to the minor leagues.
Really?
It
You can get demoted once you're...
Yeah,
yeah, like Newcastle
So
United.
like Detroit Lions would be demoted.
The Pittsburgh Pirates did nothing for decades.
Yeah.
Right? If you had a bad season, you'd have to go to a lower division, compete against lower teams.
Really?
And that means you get a lower share of television rights and a lower share. You make less at your stadium. You make less when you entertain a bigger team. So all these things factor into your financial profile.
Do the lower teams move up like that?
Yes.
And then you have the potential to move up. But it definitely changes things. Once you're spending at the highest level, your wage structure changes, and you can't sustain it when you go down. So it's nothing you ever want to have happen to your team because it's sometimes hard to recover from. Sometimes teams never recover from it.
Yeah, some big teams, if they sign like a giant player, like right now Manchester United has a Colombian striker, or is he Uruguayan?
Falcao, that guy.
Yeah.
Falcao,
So in all those guys' contracts, if Manchester United, which they're not going to happen, they're like the Yankees, if they got relegated, he would be able to get out of the contract. That's in his contract that he won't play in a lower division.
Because he's just that good.
Every big European player is going to have that in his contract.
But he's not that good. So that's why they are.
He really
that's why
pretty
they are
disappointing.
this year.
Is there a soccer player named like Pele or something like that? I feel like there was a guy.
There was a guy
The
named
most
Pele.
famous soccer player ever.
Yeah.
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 I feel like there was a
He's
newer
still
one.
alive.
He played for the Cosmos.
Why am I thinking there was a newer
Scored
guy
over
like that?
1,000 goals. You're thinking of all the. There was a
Kaká, Neymar.
Who's the dude? He had
there was
like
an
a weird
onslaught of Ronaldos. There's a
Ronaldo.
lot
I'm thinking of a
lot of
Ronaldo.
Ronaldinhos and then fake Ronaldos. Cristiano Ronaldo with his rat tail for a while.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Fake Ronaldo. Yeah.
All the Brazilians have one name. That's a way to know if somebody's Brazilian.
If they're real, if they have one name, or if they're good.
Just all the Brazilians
all
tend
do.
to have one name.
There's
Yeah.
a Socrates.
Yeah,
Really?
he's
He
famous.
played for
He's old
Brazil.
school, 70s. Smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Leonardo.
Now, if you put those guys up against the new guys
No, they
No.
can't. I mean, some of the old guys, but like Neymar.
in their prime, I mean,
It'd
like,
be
if you
hard.
put-
It's kind of hard to compare because the pace. I think the pace of the game has changed a little bit, but there's also a toughness to players then that.
But it's like Wilt Chamberlain couldn't handle Stephen Curry. Like
Okay.
he would get demolished just based on speed and the difference of the game.
There were a couple players who were way ahead of their peers, and maybe they'd be fine. Like maybe Pele, maybe Johan
Socrates.
Cruyff.
Yeah.
Those kind of guys that were way, way ahead of the people they were playing with at the time. They'd probably cut it.
Maradona would still probably be all right.
Yeah.
I'm looking during his playing days. Pele was for a period the best paid athlete in the world.
And that was like 3 Sizzler gift certificates. They paid people nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. In England, these guys in the 60s, some of them were making £100 a week.
Yeah, he was
Playing-
born in 1940, so he's been. I mean, it was like a long time ago when he was playing, but he apparently still holds the. He is listed, or he maybe he's not anymore, but for the most career goals scored. That may have changed, but for a while there, he was that.
I think he might still hold it.
He's like the Christopher Lee of soccer. Yeah, lots of appearances, lots of goals. You know.
Yeah.
He's good. I prefer Dutch players. I'm not a fan of South American soccer.
Really?
I'm a Dutch.
What's the difference? Playing style?
Style of play.
it's
We
more
don't fall
rigid.
down as much. We don't
You're
writhe
thinking
on
of
the ground.
Italians.
The Italians are the South
Italians
Americans
are
of
the
Europe.
worst. Yeah.
They're like the Argentines
Brazilians
and
aren't-
Italians are kind of.
So is it just
Yeah.
they just
both
are
have the
taught how to
same
play differently, or what?
They're just dramatic. You know, that Latin passion translates into dramatic
long hair,
one-act
headbands.
plays on the field when they
Yeah.
get touched.
Where I like, English, French, German, and Dutch. They're technically gifted, smart teams. You know,
They're less-
and physically athletic, and they still have the room for the creative types. A lot of South American teams can self-destruct because they're all creative.
Oh, okay.
You know, and they all if it
they
doesn't
all want
go
to be
their
a leader.
way- If it doesn't go their way, it's whiny city.
Now, if you touch someone,
They die.
Is that a foul?
If they're Brazilian, they die.
They explode. Just a pile of
so
blood.
is that like a foul? Like in basketball or whatever, you can get like a foul. How does that work? Like say,
It's a free kick.
You
Unless
get a free
it's
kick,
unless
stoppage
it's
of
harder.
play, and they reset the ball.
even if it's just like that, like if I tap you on the elbow,
No, soccer. There's more injuries in professional soccer than any other sport in
But-
the world.
what they'll try
It's
to
physical,
do is
despite what
if
they
I
would have
get
you-
any opportunity, if I just am putting my arm on him because we're running next to each other,
Yeah.
he might fall over and act like I punched him in the face.
You're allowed shoulder challenges. You're
Okay.
allowed to be physical with each other. You just can't like grab a guy by the throat or pull him down, or you can't tackle someone from behind. That's the big no-no.
Okay.
Like if someone can't see you coming and you clip their legs,
Yeah.
that's what leads to a lot of serious injury. So that is frowned upon in
Yeah.
soccer.
And Arsenal is
Arsenal are the best.
they're
Yeah.
are they now? You say that
No,
because
they
you're
are-
both fans.
There are
but
Arsenal. Here's the deal with Arsenal. Let's just lay it right.
do
out.
they have the most
There's
awards?
a lot of teams in London right now that would like to be Arsenal, Tottenham. Chelsea just won the title, but Chelsea spent billions of dollars to get the title.
They're owned by a Russian oligarchy.
Yeah,
Really?
dubious
Oligarch.
money.
the
Dubious money.
Russian Koch brothers.
Arsenal do things a very legit way. They are their own worst enemy. The only people preventing Arsenal from being better than what they are is Arsenal right now, and it's fine. They had to be stable because they built $1 billion stadium. They restructured their club. They tried to promote youth from within. They were not throwing hundreds of millions of dollars a season at players and wages. And FIFA introduced financial fair play, which is supposed to regulate teams like Chelsea and Man City from the extravagant money they pour into it.
Okay.
There's a lot of loopholes, and they find them all. Arsenal, I think, approach it. They're probably the only team that has balanced books, like legitimately balanced books, and all.
They also grow their players, which is like no, like literally,
something
like
respectable about it.
Barcelona will do that
Okay.
too, like where they
Barcelona,
actually
yeah.
they'll hire kids at like 15, 16 years old
Stick with them.
and keep them on the team as long as they can.
I don't think
Oh,
anybody's
really?
made
So
it
it's
through
almost
the
like-
Chelsea youth system in 100 years.
Okay, so it'd be like finding someone who's got talent and being like, you're going to be an intelligent person. Come
Like-
work for me,
like-
and I'll pay for you to
Like
go
Jack
to college
Wilshere,
or
who's at
whatever.
Arsenal now.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
been there since he was 9 years old.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There's nobody like that on Man City or Chelsea.
But-
they're mercenaries. Remember, like the wandering Germanic tribes that would roll around Europe and murder people. That's basically like what Chelsea and Man City are. That's like the equivalent of that. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, you're good. You're Belgian. Come play with us. We'll pay you £300,000 a week for 2 years until we get sick of you, and then we'll hire another guy from South America.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like whoever wants the most money, and you find the players with the least loyalty gravitate towards those.
Because it's
teams.
money.
Not saying that they aren't great.
Yeah.
Sometimes alchemy works, and they make a great combination of people, but they don't.
That's the
stick
name
with
of a team, Alchemy.
No, I'm just saying that the magic that happens.
yeah.
Probably somewhere.
But like their teams don't grow together. They patch them together with lots of money. And sometimes it's beautiful, and they're great teams. But other times it just feels dirty.
You
So-
may get some interesting tweets this week.
There's going to be a lot of people angry at us because a lot of people are going to be furious that we're talking. Man City is like.
So these are all most of the teams are named after where they're
Man U
from.
is not having that great of a year, but Man U is historically the team to hate.
Where does the name
Yeah.
Arsenal come from?
They were an army?
Well, the Woolwich Arsenal, the Royal Arsenal, it started because a lot of their initial players way back in the day were working at a munitions factory.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why their
So-
symbol is that little gun on his sweatshirt.
Gunners.
Okay.
Yeah, and
And that's how you knew he was an Arsenal fan?
Mhm, it's a little
Some-
cannon.
It's a little
yeah.
subtle thing. So they
Like
actually
the
started in South
Freemasons.
London,
Yeah.
and they migrated to North London in the early part of last century,
Okay.
and they became rivals with Tottenham Hotspur. And we recently celebrated something called St. Totteringham's Day, which happens maybe now it's happened for 35 years straight, which means
Okay.
we finish above Tottenham in the league, and it's just this annual holiday
Sounds-
that happens. And this year came fairly early because
Yeah.
Tottenham imploded,
Yeah.
as they normally do, and they always think that they're our peer. They think they're on our level, and
They sold all their best players too.
I would
They
love.
really-
I would love to like take you guys into like Ireland or where there are these
Oh,
other.
I'm happy to.
And just have you get on a soapbox and
No. We'd die.
exactly exactly
We could only say
exactly and, like,
well, Tottenham, here's what they did.
Like-
They had one of the best players in the world, and they sold him for what, like a 90 million
Bale?
pounds, right? They
Is that
sold
what
him to
you're
Real
talking
Madrid, yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy who should have been loyal to them, he went to Real Madrid, and he gets ridiculed, whatever, because
Yeah.
of his hair over there. And so they make all this money, and they go spend it on maybe 5 mediocre players,
yeah.
and to fill one position. Well, one person fills that position of the guy who's gone. And if you don't fill him with someone of equal class, 5 players can't all play at once because
Yeah.
it's so poorly managed and so
Yeah.
poorly conceived that you just kind of, it's hard not to laugh sometimes when these teams mess up because they're chasing things, and they just don't build healthy from within.
Yeah.
That's what it's one thing. Arsenal may not have won the title in the past 10 years, but I am proud that they actually have something respectable in the way they approach.
So they're not the best team then if they have.
No, you can be historically. Arsenal are the most winningest team.
They just have
In England.
If you look at
just
over
in
the course
England,
of,
but not in the world.
course
Not
of
in the
top
world.
flight football in England.
Yeah.
Arsenal have the best wins, top flight wins.
Who's
win
the most
percentage.
winning in the world?
League titles in the league is Man United, much to the chagrin of Liverpool, who thought they were the best until the Premier League era started, the modern era, and Liverpool haven't won really anything. And
They've gotten close, but
They've
they
gotten
keep
close.
on imploding near around April.
Huh.
And then Arsenal, since our perfect season, I think.
Yeah, did we tell you about the perfect season?
No, tell me about this.
Oh, so there's something called we were the Invincibles, which is something that no one in professional modern sports has ever done. The last team to do it was 100-something years ago, and that's when the league was much smaller with much
the
less
Patriots
games.
were undefeated, weren't they?
Yeah, but that's like, what, 16
Yeah.
16 games?
How many games
and
are
the
these soccer teams playing?
In a 60-minute game, your National Football League, your ball is
Like 12
in play
minutes
for 4
or-
minutes.
yeah, something like that.
4.5 minutes. So they're undefeated for 40 minutes. These are home and away.
Yeah.
90-minute games.
How many games a season?
38.
Holy shit.
And
So it's
they're run-
comparable to baseball.
But it's
where
stretched
there's like
into
a
3
lot.
seasons. So they went 49 games without losing, which is unheard of in modern professional sports.
When was this?
2003,
2004?
2004.
Really?
Yeah.
They was just
They're called the Invincibles.
because that one year they were
No
the
one
only,
could beat them.
No
Yeah.
one could beat them.
Since then, we've never gone below fourth, right?
No,
we've never
we're-
finished below fourth.
There's something called Champions League, which is the best teams, the top teams, and all the European leagues go and pool together and play the following season. And Arsenal have an impeccable record where we have always qualified for Champions League. We're the only team that's always qualified for Champions League. We're never in doubt of missing it. I mean, sometimes we come close, but it's not like I always know we're going to do it. We have the infrastructure and the players to always achieve it. But it's in itself, which we get criticized for, because we treat it like it's a trophy, but it is. I mean, it puts you at the highest level. It increases your income dramatically. It keeps the best European players wanting to play for you. So you need to be in that micro league.
Yeah.
And we're always in it.
The thing about Arsenal is that we don't always necessarily finish first, but we always finish. We're kind of Moneyball.
Consistently.
And
Yeah.
there's like I think there's actually certainly like a kind of a classiness to Arsenal where it's like we don't need the trophy because we're always in the fucking championship.
But
You
this
know what I
year
mean?
we're going to finish
third probably.
second or third. We were pretty set for
That
second.
Swansea thing
but we
fucked
have
us.
the last 3 games. We have 3 games left for the teams of 2. We'll see what happens, but we should be second or third. Not that there's much difference. There's no bonus for either, but
We're fine with it.
yeah.
I don't need a title.
Speaking of games and speaking of sports, I'm going to derail this conversation a bit and
Yeah.
get into some more things.
This isn't the soccer podcast.
This is kicking it freestyle. Is that a term? I don't know. I just feel like kicking it like Beckham or what? I don't know. I don't watch sports. I don't watch soccer.
Bend it like
Bend it
freestyle.
like Beckham. Isn't there like a? Is there not
It's a
like
movie.
kicking it?
Freestyle is a form of juggling.
Sure. Okay.
But not hacky sack.
Not hacky sack, and it's also a form of rapping
I guess.
and BMXing.
Yep.
Here's something I didn't know.
And unprotected sex.
We were talking about Settlers of Catan earlier. I didn't realize this. It was first published in 1995, so it's 20 years old. Settlers of Catan is 20 years old.
Wow.
What's the date? We should have a Settlers Day.
Yeah, that's a
National
great idea.
Settlers Day.
Publication date 1995.
So today is National Settlers Day.
This year is National Settlers Year. Settlers Day. Yeah, it's been around since 1995. It has sold, by 2009, it's sold over 15 million versions of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I own all of them.
Yeah, so
I'm
that's
trying to see if there's already a National Settlers Day.
It is. So what are we going to tell people about Settlers? If you've never played it and you like strategy games, if you like anything from Risk to Monopoly, anything that involves resources, fun. If you like fun, I would just buy this game.
Do you like
Go
cool
onto
things?
Amazon, buy the game. It's probably 35% off. It arrives at your door in like 2 days. You open it up, and instant fun.
Instant fun. Almost like-
Rivalry and fun. It's an easy game to learn, and it's a difficult game to master. There are some basic strategies. Basic Monopoly strategy is you never go to hotel. Just never buy hotels. Suffocate people out of their houses. Well, there's strategies like that in Settlers of Catan.
There are.
And that's roads.
I'm reading here from an article on Wired.com. The Settlers of Catan sold out its first 5,000 copies so fast that the creator, Klaus Tibor, did not receive a first edition. He did get the satisfaction, however, of knowing his game could possibly be the biggest board game since Risk. So Risk was the biggest board game for a long time. So he doesn't even have a first edition.
He still never played it. He invented it, and he still can't get a copy. That's how good this thing is.
It's
20 years, it keeps flying off the shelves.
20 years later, he doesn't have a...
He goes to Toys R Us, and there's none left. Like, sorry, Klaus. No game for you, Klaus.
April 29th is International Catan Day.
We missed it.
April 29th. How did we miss that?
And there was a giant convention called Mammoth Catan.
Of course.
Anyways.
Well, you were sick for a long time. So that's probably why
then.
you were in New York in 29.
Yeah. Let's celebrate it tonight.
We can celebrate it tonight. So nerds. So dumb.
What's nerdy about it?
Nothing. It's
what's
fun.
nerdy about it?
Nothing.
You know what's nerdy? There's no difference between
there's nothing. It's
someone going on their fantasy draft.
Correct.
Like, yo, did you get so-and-so on your team? Because I got him. He got 9 touchdowns.
I use it as like
13 interceptions. And you're just like, that sounds like... You're going to talk about nerd talk?
Yeah.
And you're spewing these stats?
I mean, I love it. I use it as like a term of like, I love, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm on board.
I'm not
like,
offended by it. I'm not offended by it.
Andy, on the other hand, is like, God damn, you never call me a nerd again.
It's all become...
No, I love nerdy things.
Yeah. You're a fan of Star Trek, right? Yeah. Or was that your...
I'm a fan of everything, but I think the thing that I don't do that qualifies people as nerds, other than like, I think Arsenal is probably one of the only things that I really nerd out on.
Yeah.
Is like that deep knowledge, that kind of commitment, the shirts, the
culture of it.
Yeah, the culture of it. I think nerding something is just fanboy cultural.
Yeah, it's definitely taken on what used to be. It's really not even. It shouldn't be a negative term. It's just really enjoying something, and immersing yourself in the culture.
It's wanting
like
to experience
Arsenal and
more of it.
Going,
Yeah, it's like Drag Con is this weekend. You're not going to call anybody who goes to drag conventions a nerd.
No, but
although for some reason in the movie Nerds or Revenge of the Nerds there is a gay man, which doesn't make sense. He's like a fashion student. Yeah.
It's like, going to like the FIFA or whatever. That's like the Comic-Con, I would say, of like soccer or something, right?
The World Cup.
World Cup, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's you're passionate about it. There's people that make that, they migrate there and they make that pilgrimage. They got to get to the World Cup no matter what country it's in. And if you support your team, if you're going for your country, or if you're just going, even if your country's not in it, you're just going as a fan. It's a general passion, and I think when it's applied to things that are genre or pop culture, it becomes nerd. But there are plenty of people who are hyper obsessed with stuff, and you wouldn't necessarily call them a geek.
Yeah,
but geeks are different. Like, geeks and nerds is one thing, but dorks is like lower than that. But dweeb is the low. Dweeb's like, you don't want to be the dweeb. A dweeb is like someone he's into this stuff but doesn't get it either.
Yeah,
dweeb is almost like stupid nerd. Like Ralphie is a dweeb, right?
I think, dweebs lose like their...
Ralphie from...
The Simpsons?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like he's a dweeb, right?
Yeah, he's a dweeb. You're out of touch with the outer world, I think.
You're on the spectrum. You have like a lift in one shoe. You're a dweeb.
Kyle, here's something I want to point out, which I misheard you the other day, but you're a huge advocate of the prequels. Huge lover of Star Wars prequels.
I like Star Wars.
And the prequels.
There's something called Star Wars. It's a saga. It's a Star Wars saga as told by George Lucas. There are episodes 1 through 6.
Yes. And the episodes 1 through 3 are the ones
there's people that don't like them.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, there's people that don't like Return of the Jedi, and there's people that have gripes with A New Hope, and there's people that like one Star Wars film, they call themselves a Star Wars fan, and they hate everything else that George Lucas ever created. But if you rank that, you basically gave Star Wars an F. So move along, find another franchise, get the fuck out of ours. It's like that. I hate all the movies George Lucas created, and
Howard the Duck wasn't that good, though.
And he sucks, and like he had problems with the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi, and like they have gripes with everything.
Yeah.
So what do you like? What are you doing here? Go to Farscape. Get out of here. Seriously, get the fuck out of here. Like, leave it for the people who like it. Don't linger, pretend you're a fan, and shit on everything.
But don't you feel like this is like it really has divided the fan base?
It has divided the fan base, but what really divided the fan base is everyone grew up. And everyone went into it, I think, with a different... And I'm not saying they're perfect movies, and I'm not saying that you can't have issues with them, but I do think this idea was formed and persisted, and it was a lot of baseless stuff, a lot of ideas people made about these films back in, say, 1999, when you're just watching Phantom Menace, and you don't know what 2 and 3 are. It is absolutely not the movie you imagined in your head as a kid when you're growing up.
Fair enough.
Now you're an adult. Now you think, well, I'm a teenager. I'm gonna reject my father. I want to be on my own. Now that Star Wars was your advantage into films, and now you think you know everything about film. Now you can be like, well, I don't like this movie. Blah blah blah. I like The Matrix because that came out this year, and I wanted the movies to mature with me. Selfishly, I wanted more advanced type stuff, and he's still told objective storytelling largely through a kids type lens. And I do think, though, I have issues with the movies.
Yeah.
I truly have some issues with them. But as an overall thing, in terms of the mythology of Star Wars, I don't like, say, an Eopie fart joke in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I don't like Jar Jar stepping in a pile of poo. I don't need that. But as an overall mythological thing, I respect and like Star Wars as the 6 films that there currently are. And I look at George Lucas as an incredible example of independent filmmaking, of somebody who's, each time he made money, he put it back into his own film, bigger and bigger. And each time
made it on his own.
Broke new ground. He didn't just rest on his laurels. He pushed technology forward. You may not like the technology in the newer films, and everyone says, oh, they're too CGI. But, we talked about this the other day. There are more models in The Phantom Menace than in any other...
And Phantom Menace. But that brings me to the fact that I was going to bring up. No physical clone trooper armor was ever produced for the Star Wars prequels. Every clone trooper was CGI. So in any of the prequels...
I don't like Lord of the Rings because all the orcs were CGI.
The clone troopers weren't in Phantom Menace, but in the other two...
But is that what people had a problem with? They're like, oh, I don't believe...
No, I mean, I'm just pointing out this fact.
The legitimacy of those clone troopers, they actually look pretty good.
I'm just trying to find...
Because
there's no facts about Star Wars that you don't know.
If you watch Phantom Menace right now... the effects in that are actually better than probably half the movies coming out this summer. They're definitely better than that terrible Fox Wolverine movie that came out a couple of years ago.
Well, that's also, I was reading something.
Wolverine?
Whatever that one was.
X-Men Origins.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Well, this brings me something, I can't remember the name of it, but you might know this, but it has to do with CGI effects now, is they make everything blue and teal, or teal and orange. They put like the color gradient. They color correct everything to have almost like a blue phase in front of everything. Yeah. So that way nothing, because like if you watch
it helps. Yeah, there's a lot of. Here's the thing with a lot of visual effects is. As just a way to correlate with it, Star Wars, when The Phantom Menace came out, it was still huge prop movies, very expensive. Models, props, everything was still abundant. But what they needed to do at that time was sell it as a CGI. That was the sales pitch, even though there was more models in that film than any other movie in history. And now you're going to get this new trilogy of movies, and JJ is going to sell them as, we're going old school, but yet in that movie there's going to be more CGI than in any movie in history. And that's the irony of it. Like, oh, we're all practical, but Lupita Nyong'o is playing a motion capture CGI woman.
Are you excited about them?
I'm excited about them, but I'm just saying the way we sell them. Like, culturally, it is not cool to like the prequels, because USA Today had an article in 1999 that said they're racist and Jar Jar's racist, and my nephews loved Jar Jar. Like, they were 4-7 years old. They loved it.
I don't mind Jar Jar.
I don't mind him. Like, it's fine.
I'm not a fan.
I would have written it differently. I would have changed things differently. I probably wouldn't have started Anakin as an 8-year-old. I would have started it and found one actor that could grow through all three. Yeah. I just would have told it a little differently. That said, if I read the story as a novel, which I have, I love the stories. Revenge of the Sith as a novelization is the greatest Star Wars story ever told. People might have gripes at the movie, but that novel is absolutely fantastic and fascinating. It's about like this schism and this guy who's being pulled by two different sides, and the universe is going to break whichever way he goes, and it's this cool psychological story. You don't get all of that in the movie because they have to service a 2-hour plot. And
did Lucas write those novels?
No, but he would sit down with the author and dictate to them and say, this is it, and you can go into these aspects of backstory, and you can tell this a little bit before the movie would start, and when we're getting into the backstory on the Sith and that relationship between Sith and apprentice, you can tell this history. So he dictated a lot of that. A lot of it's extrapolating from the framework he lays down. So that's what's great about, say the Revenge of the Sith novel. So I look at it as the mythology of Star Wars. That's why I don't mind spoilers.
Sure.
I'm interested in what is the mythology, what is the story.
See, that's what I've always liked about them. I'm not like a fanboy, but I like the connection to the Joseph Campbell. Do you know that, the hero's journey kind of stuff?
There's only like 3 stories you can tell. Is that?
I mean, it was like Lucas was like a direct, was he a student of Campbell or something? They had a relationship.
He had liked his stuff. And
what's this guy's name?
Lucas
Joseph Campbell?
Yeah, and Joseph Campbell was a descendant of Jung, who's a descendant of...
he became more conscious of it going forward with like Empire and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they became friends after that. And it's absolutely prevalent in what he's creating. And what was fresh about Star Wars, which will never be fresh about Star Wars again, was that it was totally original. And now we're used to the world. Now the world is a very tried and true, lived in place, and we know all these characters, and that's it's familiar. But the first time you saw A New Hope, there was something you're like, what the fuck is this? It's mixing samurai, it's mixing old serials, it's mixing westerns, you're mixing screwball comedy like it happened one night. My only concern with the new movies is are the directors they're bringing in, they're all great directors, but everyone's too preoccupied with being cool and trying to shit on the prequels, that everyone's got to be cool, that are they going to be okay to let it be screwball? The original movies are kind of goofy. Han's like, you could use a good kiss. You know what I mean? Like, that's Star Wars dialogue.
Yeah.
But all the cool people making them now might
R2 and C-3PO were
they don't want to get
comedic
lambasted
foils.
for having that kind of dialogue.
Yeah.
You scruffy-looking nerf herder. Would the screenwriters now write that?
Yeah.
See, I love all. That's
that.
my genre. Like,
That's Star
I would
Wars.
say that my first comedy show that I was like really in love with was Red Dwarf. Do you guys ever watch that?
Yeah.
It's like a
remember that.
British.
Dwarf,
Yeah, that was like.
It's like Simon Pegg, right? Wasn't he in that, or was that?
No, I think that's before
someone else?
his time. But it was like. But I just love I love comedy in space. That new Yahoo Paul Feig show is great. The other space show.
I want to see that.
It's really funny and it's all goofy.
Like Rogue One, they said it's like Saving Private Ryan. Okay, well, how about you make Star Wars? You know what I mean? I don't think George Lucas was like making Empires like, it's going to be like, I don't know what it's going to be like, but it's going to be like whatever the cool
It's
movie
a very
is
good George Lucas. That sounds
week.
like George Lucas.
You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
need it to be like the cool movie that came
It's
out.
this and this. I mean, I'd like the Boba
Just
Fett
make
movie.
fucking Star Wars.
I mean, honestly, I'd love the Boba Fett to be like a John Wick in space. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Does he shoot everyone in the head, wear a suit, and someone kills his dog?
He stays at a hotel
kill
where
his-
only space assassins
I
stay.
don't know. I came to the John
He
Wick
stays
game
at
a little bit late, and I don't want to it's a really well-made movie, but I was watching it. I had this DP I work with a lot over, and we were doing some research. We were watching it, and my wife came in. She's like, "What are you watching?" And at that time, there was this scene, and the subtitles came up, and it was bubbly orange, boogeyman, and I don't know.
He double tapped.
I love the way he shot everyone in the head. That was great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The whoever choreographed those fights,
It's amazing.
I love that close gun combat.
As pure action, I liked it. As a fulfilling story, not for me.
Yeah.
Joseph Campbell was an American mythologist, writer, and lecturer, best known for his work in comparative mythology and comparative religion. He died in 1987. His philosophy is often summarized by his phrase, "Follow your bliss."
Yeah.
That's what I do.
That's what we all do.
We like Arsenal. We like Star Wars. Games. Fun.
The beach.
Charleston Chews.
Love Charleston.
I love
Chews.
Charleston Chews.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Hey,
That's
Charleston Chews, why don't you send us a box of swag? Because we know that you guys aren't moving a lot of products these days. Let's be honest.
Maybe
Their packaging has been the same since.
And I totally love them for that.
Oh,
Even
there's-
Toffee Faye broke and got a redesigned package.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and I don't think it was.
But people like Charleston Chew now. They'd be like, let's reinvent Charleston Chew to be like Snickers.
Okay, here's how you.
But that's why you have Snickers.
Let me ask you guys this:
Okay.
How do you like your Charleston Chews?
If you're gonna say
However.
frozen,
In my mouth,
everybody likes some
preferably
frozen.
in my mouth,
In my mouth.
and lots of them. No, I like sometimes frozen and cracked.
You smash them and they
But
crack.
it's good.
You know what's another good is an Abba Zaba. You guys fuck with Abba Zabas?
Yeah.
I know about Abba
I also like a toffee crisp.
Yeah, those are good.
And
That's a
Lion Bar.
Is that a European or like
They
a
have 'em
British?
in Canada.
Yeah. Are you Canadian?
No.
Canada has some good British candy that
Yeah.
what are they called? The big
What
bars.
else do they have up there?
Max. What are those called? I'm going up there in 2 weeks. I'm going to be in Canada.
Bring some back.
I'll bring back some
The
Canadian
Charleston Chew, for those of you that don't know, is a candy bar consisting of flavored nougat covered in chocolate flavor coating. It was created in 1922.
That's what some of them seem like they were
That was
made.
also the
By
last time,
Foxcross Candy
last
Company.
time Tottenham won a title.
Yeah. If we were really British and we
No,
didn't
that was
care
like-
about political
that was like
correctness,
that was like the 50s.
we'd call them the
60s or
Yids
something.
The
because they
Yids?
used to be. What was it? What's the Yids connection? There's some anti-Semitic connection to
Yeah,
Tottenham.
and Tottenham fans, I think there is a.
It's a Jewish neighborhood.
Yeah,
maybe,
and
yeah.
they're very proud of that, and it's part of the team's culture. But sometimes teams say stuff against that, and there is still, which is sad, that there is still that kind of. There's those racist chants in sports,
Not
and in
Arsenal, though.
soccer.
We don't do that. We're classy.
And the apparently the original Charleston Chew was chocolate-covered vanilla taffy. The company was purchased in 1957 by Nathan Sloan and later sold to Nabisco in 1980. Although he did not invent the Charleston Chew, he did change the candy's original blueprint, chocolate-covered vanilla taffy.
I bet when they sold to Nabisco, that was like an old man in a bed. You know what I mean? Just like, God, my legacy. Like, his
And he wrote
son.
him a check for $18.
Yeah.
It was like the Louisiana Purchase.
And it's like they
It was
just
like the
it's-
deal of the century. I'd
like-
go back in time and I would usurp that deal, and I'd go
Nabisco-
back with like $10 million, and I'd take the Louisiana Purchase.
And Nabisco, they don't even know that they're still making Charleston Chew. It's like in the
Yeah.
shed. They're like, we still make this? Like,
Yeah.
if they caught wind that.
Yeah, we
they
better
were still-
stop production on the Charleston Chew. These guys are talking about it. You know what else is really good? It's a green tea Kit Kat
Oh, the Japanese ones,
in
yeah.
Japan, and during the month of April, May, you can get cherry blossom
They have those right now.
filling in the green tea.
I was just in Marukai Market.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I need them.
They're so good.
Never had them. I'm not a fan of tea.
It
It
tastes
doesn't
like chocolate.
matter.
Okay.
Yeah, it tastes like rich, better chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
I love Kit Kats, though.
Do you like white chocolate?
I like white chocolate.
Do you like white chocolate with like just a slightly
You ever had
different
green tea ice cream?
No.
Oh man,
Really?
Get with it. What do you haven't tried these things?
Have you ever had sushi?
Yeah, I don't like sushi.
What?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Razzle just eats Skittles
So
and Sprite Zeros.
let's go to Let's make a movie in Tokyo. Razzle dreams of sushi.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
you know,
Travel Channel show. Me just going to weird places, eating weird foods.
And you're like, no, I don't want it. You
Jiro's.
get to these exotic restaurants, you're like, do you have a cheeseburger? That's the whole show.
That's it.
You just go to these
No,
fancy restaurants. You go down to Peru and they're going to go, ceviche. And you're like, no, but I'll have a grilled cheese.
and
And
you
just
just go
see
to
the reactions
McDonald's.
of these famous chefs and you just fight with them. That'd
I
be a
have
great
them.
show.
That'd be funny.
Just go around the world
go
to
and
famous
have them
chefs
make
and fight
me-
with them. Because I'm picky when it comes
Yeah.
to eating. And I get... Not picky. I know what I like. And if
Yeah.
I'm going to a place and I'm paying for it, they better fucking make what I want.
Yeah.
So if I'm like, I'd like the burger, but could you please leave off the onions? And they're like, sorry, sir.
Yeah.
We don't make exceptions.
Yeah. It's like,
You know what I
fucking-
mean? Then I'm
paying
like-
for it. Just don't put the onions on. Save your dollar and don't put the
Why would you
onion on
do
it.
just do you try to piss people off? Take the fucking onions off.
Yeah, it's
And they're like, our chef doesn't do it. It's like, I'm not at a 5-star restaurant. I'm at your burger place.
Yeah.
Take your fucking onions off.
LA's full of those burger places.
Yeah. And we know what they're called.
Yeah.
Father's office. Father's office. I would drive my car through the front. One time I went so crazy. It was pouring rain. I
Yeah.
pulled up. I needed an ID to get in to order takeout. So I had to go back to the car. I got my ID.
Why don't
I
you go
got
somewhere
in,
else?
And then they're like, it was like late. It was the one in Santa Monica. And it was like, if I didn't get food, everything was going to close, kind of thing.
Okay.
So I go and I get in, and I was like, was going to get a table, and you have to fight for a table that they don't believe in. They don't believe in, or even putting your name on a list. So I'm waiting by a table, and someone just swoops in and takes it. It's like, sorry, first. I was like, I'm going to kill this person.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm just going to get it to go. So I go, and I'm like, look, I need this, and my wife has an onion allergy, so I don't put onions on it. And the guy was like, the most attitude ever. And this was an hour after I just decided I need a burger.
Yeah.
So I left, and I was about to drive my car through the front of it and just take everyone down.
There's a movie.
That might be good press for the film. Get you like some national news.
Barely Lethal would.
If you know, I tend to exaggerate things.
Barely Lethal would break box office records. They'd be move over Furious 7. Kyle Newman drove his car through a restaurant window. George Lucas was the first Hollywood filmmaker to credit Campbell's influence. Lucas stated following the release of the first Star Wars film in 1977 that its story was shaped in part by ideas described in The Hero with a Thousand Faces and other works of Campbell's.
Yeah.
Well, another interesting note is while George Lucas was the first to do that, and he really got into that type of storytelling and studied archetypes and character arcs and the mythology of things, no one else did that after him. That's evidenced by most of the movies out right now.
I mean,
you look at a lot of the tentpoles, and they're pretty soulless. And you wish
Furious 7 is about family.
You seem to be a little...
Furious 7 is all about family.
Do you like JJ? Because I feel like he's doing pretty good stuff.
I do like JJ.
I feel like the new Star Wars or Star Trek
okay, because you guys are both
great.
Star Trek fans.
Yes.
Yeah, like
What'd you think of the new ones?
Great.
I
the
like
second one didn't do it for me as much. It was a little bit overproduced.
Here's the only thing. I think a lot of... If you look at the very first Star Wars, say New Hope, it's largely a drama. Characters making decisions based on character. And if you look at, say, Star Trek Into Darkness, there is this... And it's not JJ, it's just this is the type of movies people are forced to make now, is that every 8 minutes something has to happen, and it's normally action that doesn't come out of character. And so there is a lot of that. And, my concern going into new Star Wars without George Lucas' fingerprints on it is that, if Luke goes back, there's the Jawa Sandcrawler, and instead of making a moral decision to say, I want to go with you, there would be this... The Sandcrawler would explode and stormtroopers would come through it and be like, we got to get out of here, and then that would be action propelled them again. So there was a restraint in the original Star Wars, partially by the reality of financial
So did he
issues.
achieve that in the Star Trek, though, do you think? Did he?
No, not Star Trek Into Darkness, no. I didn't dislike it.
Yeah.
But one of my problem with that movie was, not the movie, was that building up to it, everyone involved lied to us and said this movie is not about Khan. It's not about Khan. It's not about Khan. And you know what? You know who didn't? You know who suffered was the average fan who was like, "Whoa, what's going on? I don't know, Khan or what? I just want to see a good movie." And they tuned everybody out because it became too nerd specific about, did I need to see Khan or did I need to see this episode of the original Trek or what is going on? Just promote a good movie.
Yeah.
Why play a game?
Now, were you both of you fans of the shows and the older movies, or?
I was kind of only a Star Trek: The Next Generation guy. I liked the old one, and I would watch a little bit of Deep Space Nine, and I've seen the movies, but what my favorite is Patrick Stewart, and
Yeah. When Patrick Stewart left us, when George Lucas left us for dead in like the mid '80s, and Star Wars cheated on us and like went away, we kind of had to go
to TNG.
We kind of had to hang out with Star Trek for a while.
Worf from Star Trek.
Michael
Dorn.
Yeah.
Michael Dorn. He was the first Klingon main character to appear in the Star Trek universe, and he has appeared in more Star Trek franchise episodes than any other character, and is the only main character to be a main cast member in more than one live-action Star Trek series.
That show is so fucking good. They would spend a whole episode in a Western. I mean, it was just like so
cool.
Cool. I love that show.
Next Generation was groundbreaking television, and I didn't really think about this for a while. I wrote a piece on EW right after JJ got attached to the movie, which was kind of tracing the history, this fused history that Star Wars and Star Trek have. And while one was operating really well on television, the other one was kind of flourishing cinematically and vice versa. And they kind of both propelled each other forward, and kind of like the Beatles and the Stones pushing each other. And there is that unique relationship to it. And so I definitely don't dislike it. I definitely prefer Star Wars, but I love, if Star Trek's on, I watch it. I've seen every episode of Next Generation. I love the original, and like you said, I watched a lot of Deep Space Nine, and I started to phase out during Voyager, and I think by the time
Voyager was Sorbo, right? Kevin Sorbo?
Voyager was Captain Janeway, right?
What's the Kevin Sorbo, the guy that played Spartacus? Hercules, yeah. Was he Deep Space or was he Voyager? I think he was Voyager.
Well, who's the one after it? That was Scott.
He was Andromeda. It starred Kevin Sorbo. Was in Andromeda.
No,
that was
what
a
was
Star
the one
Trek?
after? It was with us. Is it Scott Bakula? And he was in the Quantum Leap guy.
Yeah,
By the time
Scott
I got to that
Bakula.
series, I kind of phased out. They should do Star Trek SVU and just like Special
Yeah,
Victims
that'd be a
Unit.
great
You know,
one.
and they just roll into like Cardassian space and they're like, "What happened here?" And they have to get to the bottom of it.
What about
That'd
I
be
just thought of a
terrible.
stupid parody,
Or
the
NCI
Keeping Up with the Cardassians.
Oh,
Keeping
yeah.
up with the Calrissians.
Keeping Up with
What
the
about
Cardassians.
what about NCIS Trek? Would you watch it?
I don't watch any NCIS
Me
shows.
neither.
as it is.
That's a good answer.
I'm trying to find it here. It doesn't. Andromeda is the only one that looks like the Star Trek one he was in. Star Trek Andromeda.
What about Law and
Kevin
Order
Sorbo.
and KOTB?
Yeah, what about a legal show in the Star Trek universe? They haven't done that yet.
NCIS TNG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was it here? Okay. The Next Generation takes place in the year 2364. It takes place 100 years after the start of the first 5-year mission. So if you take from the very beginning when Captain Kirk goes on his 5-year journey, 100 years later is when the Next Generation starts.
Wow.
But based on the ramifications of JJ's Star Trek The Next Generation doesn't happen that way, right? Because everything changed.
In theory.
Yeah.
In theory, there's no,
So,
you know.
so Geordie LaForge is...
Dead.
Well, he's
Will
living on
Wheaton
a, or
is
he's living
just
on
tweeting
a
about the
planet.
Kings.
Whoopi Goldberg is out of work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Odo is shape-shifting no more.
I
Was it
had
Odo or was it Photo?
Odo was like
he was
the-
that dude from Deep Space Nine, like the weird guy. He was like the ooze guy.
I was what you were talking about earlier with the restraint thing. I was talking to somebody about this recently about like how movies were the best in like 1973 or whatever because you could have like they would do something where you would just sit and watch somebody for 8 minutes.
Yeah, talk
Or like I even I watched like the Pusher movies last night. You know those Winding Refn movies, and there's like they have a scene where they have to cut up a body, and they cut the whole body up. They don't take the camera away.
Yeah,
and it's like they used to do that in the 70s in America, and that was like where Lucas came out of. What's his first movie? That's like the
THX 138.
Yeah, like that's like an art film, but
And American
essentially.
Graffiti is still one of
Such
the
a good
finest
movie.
pieces of American independent
They're
cinema. It's
character
brilliant.
movies. They're dialogue and plot, and they
and
tell
they
you
let things breathe, and you can watch people walk across entire
I love
landscapes.
Japanese cinema. I like European movies. I mean,
But even
I
those
shouldn't
movies
admit this,
too.
but like I know a lot of people like the fast movies, ironically, but
I love
mean,
them. I love them in general. I love them really.
I've seen 2 of them, and they're fun. But I don't understand the rabid. I think there has to be. I
It's
watched
pure
the one where
adrenaline,
like
silly.
one person jumped onto the hood of the other car while moving. Like it was
That's
the
all
last
of them.
one.
Okay.
Or when the runway was like 100 miles long.
Yeah, that was the 6.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, had some stuff going on.
Wait, the runway?
Yeah, it was like they're driving down an airport runway for like 20 minutes.
the whole
of a
third
climax.
act. Yeah.
It's like,
Just
how long
one-
is this runway?
One runway. It was the size of. It went from one side of the California coast into
was like-
into Nevada.
If it was real time, the speed they were going, it was like a super.
They think someone did the math. It was like a 700-mile
so long.
runway or something.
Those I like those like unironically
Really big
because
plane.
they're like fun. They're like big budget action movies, B movies. Like Indiana Jones was a B movie. It was a big budget B movie.
Yeah, I know, but Indiana Jones was like.
I'm not saying-
had the texture and class
Yeah.
of an old movie
Correct.
while elevating.
Those
I
were
mean,
Lucas
Lost
too,
Ark
right?
Is like a
He produced
fantastic
them.
action film. You look at Road Warrior. That is a fucking amazing action.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
When someone talks about how
You're talking about
awesome
the first one, Mad Max.
Fast 7
Mad
is
Max.
or
That was
something,
Mad Max. Road
I
Warrior.
wouldn't say
Road Warrior
it's
is 2,
awesome
right?
action.
Road Warrior was
Road
2.
Warrior is 2. Road
Yeah.
Warrior is amazing. You don't know
Yeah.
what's going to happen. There's something raw about it.
It was one of the first movies
Raiders
I've
Lost
seen of
Ark
that age
is incredible.
that had like a twist ending
I love
too.
Aliens.
Road Warrior.
I love Aliens.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But and you,
I don't know if the tongue in cheekness of the other movies
Yeah.
that are out now, which are like the benchmarks for summer spectacle feel soulless to me.
There's
You're
definitely
talking about like the restraint. Well, there is no restraint anymore.
Well, I'll be honest. Even like Avengers, like I liked it, but the new one,
I didn't
there
see
was
it yet.
so much forced comedy and everything. It's like they don't. It's almost it's like that. Like they're trying too hard to be
Everything.
everything, and it's like just make me a good superhero action
never
movie. Or whatever.
slow down
Do you
in
know what I
those
mean?
movies.
They never slow down. It's
Yeah.
like in those old movies, you'd have your beats and your action, but then you'd have your 7 minutes of human actual characters like interacting and like
And that's like
exploring or
the
whatever. you know?
best sci-fi movie I've seen in like 5 years was Moon,
Love Moon.
Love
which
Moon.
is like so slow.
So
and,
slow.
That movie it's great. I mean, while it's not like dramatically like crazy up and down, it has like a really nice build to it.
yeah.
And it's thought provoking.
Yeah.
I love the first 2/3 of Sunshine.
Well,
I love
even-
the first 2/3 of 28. I love 28 Days Later. But
Yeah.
I think the third act it loses a little bit, but
And
it's a fantastic. I like movies like that. They're in a genre, but they still have character and weight, and they're grounded,
Yeah.
and they're not trying to make me stupid.
Well, it's like even Die Hard, like it's one of my favorite action movies. Is it's this
Great.
real normal cop, like there are scenes with him just crawling through
yeah.
an air vent,
yeah.
like for 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever, and it's like you feel it. It's not super over the top. There are that quiet moments, whatever where he's thinking about his kids or vice versa, and there's definitely not everything is ADD generation and
Like
quick
Jurassic
cuts.
Park is another great summer action movie.
Absolutely,
I love that movie.
You'd have
Jaws.
you'd have cuts that were 20 seconds, 30 seconds longer.
Yeah.
With characters. Now you look at like the Avengers or everything, and it's literally like every 2 seconds it's a cut.
Well, I
It's a
think
cut.
even with
they would-
Jaws, they're trying to at least be Jurassic Park's trying to have a science at the core of it that you
Yes.
can believe.
It's a character
I
piece.
saw the trailer for the last Fast movie, and
Yeah.
it's just are we on Earth? I don't know where we. What's happening?
They're superheroes with
It
cars.
was like
is
with
what
Deep
it is.
Impact when like they did a jump and the
Yeah.
moon rover went like 7,000 miles, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. There's like a texture to it, and a lot of times I like to go and eat popcorn and watch them. But
Yeah.
I like I said, I'd rather watch an old samurai film than.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watch a movie every night at about midnight, and I don't ever watch
The
big
same one.
blockbusters.
Yeah.
I watch weird European movies usually.
Yeah.
Foreign movies
What's
usually.
the most recent one you watched?
Well, I watched the Pusher trilogy this
Okay.
week, so those are the last 3 nights. And then I watched Faces of January, a really underrated movie that came out. It's on Netflix. It's Viggo Mortensen, Kristen, what's her name? Pretty girl. Kristen.
Bell.
No, the other one.
Stewart.
The bigger one.
Like bigger or
like
bigger?
Virgin Diaries. Famous, super famous.
Kristen, you're talking about Kristen
Dunst.
Kristen Dunst.
And then Oscar Isaac, who's just
That
fantastic.
guy's awesome.
He's so good. Ex Machina. Ex Machina is like, it's
I
going to
have
be a
see
big,
that. I haven't seen it yet.
it's a slow movie. It's an art film. Who's that guy? What did he make before this?
Alex Garland. He wrote a couple of movies for Danny Boyle. So I think he actually did. He write 28 Days? 28 Days
Yeah,
Later?
this
I
is
think
his
he
first
did.
film,
he wrote
right?
Sunshine.
He was a writer, and then this is his first directing.
Yeah, it's really good. Oh, I also saw Upstream Color this week too, and I
That's
thought
a
that
cool
was
movie.
a fantastic movie. Yeah, so
awesome.
I've been in the genre.
Yeah, and I don't mean to like be. I'm just talking viscerally and
Oh, yeah.
emotionally
I mean,
how
yeah,
these
yeah.
make me feel. And I'm not. I don't like judging other movies. I'm just
Yeah.
talking about how it feels. Those movies I'm talking about like the content of some things.
Yeah.
There is so much blood, sweat, and tears that
Oh,
go into it. You
so
can't
much hard work.
question the effort of the filmmaker, but
It's
part of it
how the
is-
movie makes you feel.
Part
as
of it
a-
is also, I just heard a story like right before I came here.
Yeah.
A big movie that's filming right now, where the director found out a person that was cast in his movie on Variety.
See, that's
This is a $150 movie. The director just found out a person was cast in his movie
because
on
he.
Variety.
Wow.
He didn't even know.
150 million, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is who's making the movies. It's not.
It's not the filmmakers like it used to be. There was the golden age where you had your Scorseses and that 70s. You had your Warren Beatty's and all those doing the directing and producing, and you had the 7-minute scenes of dialogue prior to the advent of all these. Really prior to Lucas and Spielberg creating the blockbusters.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because now you don't have all the movies you just mentioned, Andy. I've never heard of them aside from Ex Machina because a lot of them, they go straight to VOD or they're in the small. How do you find them unless you're actively completely seeking them out? And they got P&L because there's that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Abigail Breslin movie, Maggie, that just came out.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great, but they got there's no billboards, there's no ads because it's a lower budget movie, and unless you're really slamming people in the face with it, in between like Key and Peele advertisements, how do you know about it?
It's going to be like
we made our movie for $10 million, and they're not, but that's nothing compared to
that's nothing.
No.
Speed was made for $30 million in '94.
Yeah,
and I would bring that up because I was just at a show this morning about it, but it's like. Unless you're really
making the $150, $200 million movie, you're not getting billboards.
You're not getting billboards.
There's occasionally
like
It Follows did that this year, where they got the big distribution. They broke all the box office records for their whatever the ratio.
What's great is the new methods of distribution are exciting. Now we like some of these different movies. We can go on to Hulu Plus, and you have unlimited criterion, and you can just watch all of the best movies. You can watch Throne of Blood. You can watch Ujutsu. You can watch. Whenever, it's right there. And, I didn't have that ability when I was young.
No,
You'd have to go to a crummy video store, and they'd look at you, you're throwing a blood, and they'd be like, get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? We've got 6 copies of Ghoulies over there. You know what I mean?
See, that's why I lucked out, because we had video stores in Seattle that were insane.
I grew up in the middle of nowhere, New Jersey, so it was just impossible.
Yeah, that's a different world.
Maybe that's why I like He-Man and...
it's very much like I grew up in a small town in Michigan, and we had the weird rare movies, but it was you remember the box art.
Definitely nothing.
But we didn't have anything in theaters, or we didn't have independent theaters, or we didn't have even the smaller art house type of blockbuster.
Seattle's just full of that. That's all Seattle is.
Until I went to NYU, and there was the Angelica and all that. I wasn't exposed to.
Yeah.
There was one theater maybe where I grew up 50 minutes away. But you could be in New York in an hour, so it was...
Yeah.
But you just weren't exposed to it. But like I said, now they can cater to every single niche there is.
Yeah.
So that's what's great about it, is you can find it, and if you hear about something, write it down and go seek it out, because the only thing you are going to get advertised and shoved down your throat is a mega franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. And it helps with word of mouth is the word I'm looking for. I mean, that's really the only way,
like companies like A24. I check out what they're up to. I go to watch whatever they're putting out. And
that's also why TV is kind of great right now.
TV's in a
TV's in the best that it's ever been, because
but even in TV, there's the Daredevil type superhero show, or there's the Arrow type superhero show. And
well, they both are kind of like the.
But the character study shows, Walking Dead, The Americans,
True Detective,
those
House
things
of
are
Cards
killing it.
Is so good.
Yeah,
second season.
this is a rabbit hole.
You gotta watch it all.
Second season ruined it. They brought in that hacker in season 2, and I'm like,
I love that actor. What's his name?
He's a good actor, but he was.
I've seen him at Josh and Josh before, and I want to go up.
Yeah,
and,
he's
in the final scene of Zodiac. My favorite movie.
Really? I gotta watch that. I haven't seen that yet.
You haven't seen Zodiac?
That's the Zodiac Killer, right? With
Fincher.
Mark Ruffalo or whatever.
Yeah. It's great.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
I think. I think there's it's a golden time for television.
I mean, it's also a golden time for movies, though. It's also a golden time for movies because anybody like you can make a $10 million movie, or you can make a $150 million movie, or you could do a $1 million movie, but it looks like a $20 million movie because of. You can make movies on your iPhones.
I'm so excited about that Tangerine movie that's coming out. They made that all on iPhone 5.
You can make anything now.
It's exciting.
It's so much easier for consumers to even make short films and put it up on Vimeo or whatever.
The bottom line is, 100 years ago, everyone could paint.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't mean you're Picasso.
Yeah.
So you still have to learn it.
Yes, but you still have to learn it. But it's easier.
Listen,
but you
Razzle, I could do open heart surgery as well. It doesn't mean I'd be good at it.
Correct.
Just because I can fucking do it doesn't mean I know what I'm doing.
But what I'm getting at is,
I'll let you try.
I trust you.
Thankfully, no one dies when some of these people make films.
Well,
but
yeah,
I'm saying, but
unless
it is cool
unless you're
that
making
it's been
that one
democratized to
movie?
the point
that
where
one, the Allman Brothers movie.
Yeah.
if you're young, like when I was young.
But you couldn't seek it out. Now it's easier to
I would
seek
make
out all the
stop
Picassos.
motion movies because
Yeah.
I could control it, but I didn't have a pool of actors to go to. I didn't have
No.
gear. I didn't have
Yeah.
to make a film.
Exactly.
Outside of recording on like a cutting tape to tape on like a camcorder.
But it's easier to find those. It's easier to discover these.
So if you have the affinity for it, you
Yeah.
can go seek it out and you can do it. It's
Correct.
great to have that tool.
Yeah. We're approaching our time, so now is the time for both of you guys to plug what you got. We'll start with Andy. Do you have any show? This is coming out on Monday the 18th.
I love that we're going to plug some comedy shows, and then he's going to plug a movie. I will be in Calgary, Alberta for the last weekend of May, and then I'll be in Seattle, Washington for the first weekend of June. And then I'll be in Healdsburg, California for the last weekend of June.
Wonderful.
Holler
I
at
like
me.
it. Holler at him.
Holler. What's your Twitter?
My Twitter is at the letters I, the letter M, the letter I, the letter M, Andy Haynes. I'm Andy Haynes. I'm Andy Haynes.
And he's an Arsenal fan, so
I
go
check
see
out.
him.
Hey, Arsenal fans, go see him.
Wear your Reds.
Yes.
Kyle, what do you got? Obviously,
Like I
your
said,
movie,
my movie Barely Lethal is opening on May 29th. Theaters are on demand. And I think if you like those old kind of movies, like I mentioned before, it's like a fun throwback to old high school movies with a modern twist. You're going to love it. I promise. I don't know what else to guarantee. Razzle will cut off his pinky if you don't like it. How's that?
I'll do it. I'll cut it off
And then
for him.
Then what else? Well, I just did this Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty at Star Wars Celebration,
Yes.
which was a live audio drama I did for Lucasfilm. We had the cast of the Clone Wars and many other people performing it live. That is going to be coming out in the end of June on StarWars.com. So we have post-produced it. We have augmented it with some additional ambience and sounds, and it's really fun. It's like a throwback to classic. You know that feeling in 1979 where you didn't know what Empire Strikes
Yeah.
Back was going to be, and it's a Han Solo story, and it's about an hour long. So it's a fun old style
really
radio
fun.
drama.
Yeah, I was there. I watched
So
it.
check it out. And there's part 1 is up on StarWars.com now. That's called Smuggler's Gambit.
And then on Twitter, at Kyle_Newman.
Yes.
And then hashtag Kyle Newman to direct Rogue One. Because that
good,
director
too.
just got
and if you
kicked
do
off.
if you're a Taylor Swift fan.
Oh,
Taylor
I mean, you know,
Swift fans out there?
we won't get into.
I just did some stuff for Taylor's world tour. So I'm not sure about if I'm allowed to say what stuff I did, but go check out the world tour, which just launched. Started in Tokyo. It's coming May 15th to the U.S. Its first leg. You'll see a lot of stuff that I shot up on screen there.
Yeah, you will. That's really good. So go see Taylor Swift just because she's amazing.
By the way,
it's going to be a great
she's
show.
that's probably going to be the biggest tour of the.
And then Haim. I mean, go see.
awesome.
I mean, Haim's opening up for her.
Oh,
It's-
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude, it's going to be.
Heimer playing all the stadium legs of the tour.
We went.
It's like
The other guy, too, right?
the big legs.
There's a guy opening up before
it's
them, right?
I like a Mess's Mind guy.
He did Riptide.
Yeah, same dude.
Yeah,
But
he's great.
we all went to see Haim at the Troubadour a few months ago, and they
Yeah, they're great.
destroyed it. And just to think
Brought
of
their
them,
parents out on stage too to jam with them.
yeah, I've seen them a few times, and that time was the best time I've seen them. They've gotten exponentially better over the years, and
You see some bass face?
yeah, and they're so good. Like they're like the next Bengals almost. They're just like a hard, just
Love them.
man, so good. So yeah, if you can, I mean, I'm fairly certain the whole tour is sold out, but if you can get tickets, go see that tour and watch the footage Kyle directed. It's really good. And then go see Barely Lethal on May 29th.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. This
Absolutely.
is
Thanks
fun.
for doing this. Then, as usual, you can follow the podcast, TWL Podcast, on Twitter. You can send us an email, todaywelearnpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Dan, who is not here, at OsteoFerocious. Also, go out and buy his book about the Avengers that just came out. And then you can follow me on Twitter at my name is Razzle2. And follow me on Instagram.
What's
My
his
name is
book?
Razzle. It's 100 things you should know about Avengers before you do or die, or something along those lines.
cool.
I can't remember the
Big
title.
Marvel fan. I like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
But he's doing a Star Wars one that comes out. Yeah, I think they announced it and he talked about it.
Okay.
He's doing it's coming out before the movie comes out. It's like 100 things you should know or do about Star Wars before you die type of a thing.
Nice.
Really cool. Then watch his Dan Cave. And then I got another podcast. Listen to that. You guys know, picking favorites. And yeah, so just be awesome to each other and party on, Wayne. Thanks, guys.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.